Hey guys, so for week 3 we had to choose the top 5 predictions from a list that we presented in class. My criteria for selection was solely based on my personal beliefs and what I believe has had the biggest impact on my personal life. I also took into consideration the impact on humans that the invention or idea has had. So these top 5 are in no particular order. So the top one of the quotes that I chose was "We don't like their sound and guitar music is on the way out." Decca Recording Company on declining to sign the Beatles in 1962. This quote is kind of crazy because the Beatles are one of the greatest bands of all time. They sold more albums than any other artist in the history, beating out the likes of Elvis Presley and Michael Jackson. They revolutionized the rock genre. They were pioneers for all rock music to come after them, and they inspired millions of musicians, including myself. The next quote is this telephone has many shortcomings to be seriously considered as a means of communication. The device is inherently of no value to us. Western Union International Memo 1876. So before the telephone, the only form of communication we really had was through postal mail and the telegraph and Morse code. Nowadays, everyone uses telephones. It's the main form of communication, whether it be through calls or texts. Um, and about 75% of the world population has a telephone or mobile phone. Number 3, I think there's a world market for maybe 5 computers. Thomas Watson, chairman of IBM, 1943. It's ironic that the chairman of IBM would say this because this is showing that he did not trust his own work. Nowadays, everyone uses computers. It revolutionized technology in the whole world. The amount of data that a computer can store and the speed at which it functions makes it one of the best inventions of all time. And honestly, just thinking about life without a computer is kind of scary. Next quote: "The horse is here to stay, but the automobile is only a novelty, a fad." The president of the Michigan Savings Bank advising Henry Ford's lawyer not to invest in the Ford Motor Company, 1903. The car is the main form of transportation in the world. 85% of Americans use a car to get to and from work. People get from point A to point B in a matter of hours compared to horseback, which would take way longer. And it is currently a billion-dollar industry. Quote number 5 says, "There will never be a bigger plane built. A Boeing engineer after the first flight of the 247, a twin-engine plane that holds 10 people." It is pretty crazy to think that the Boeing 247 was only 16 meters long and reached a max speed of 200 miles per hour. Nowadays, the biggest plane is actually the Antonov AN 225, which is 44 meters long and reaches a speed of 528 miles per hour. So the speed and the length has significantly increased. The plane revolutionized means of traveling as the world became more interconnected. We could travel from one country to another in a matter of hours. Uh, Nowadays, yeah, we can travel to China in less than a day, which is pretty crazy to think. Back before the plane was invented, that would probably be really like it'd be really hard to travel to places of vast distances. And that is it for this for the top 5.